Hi Grumps. So, Donald Trump is back in Britain again. Yeah, he's back again for his holidays. He's like the relative who says, don't worry, I won't stay long, and then 3 days later he's still on your sofa asking where the remote control is. But this time he's getting the full royal treatment. Carriages, banquets, jets roaring overhead, castles, the whole medieval theme park experience. He may as well stay at the Legoland near Windsor. He's meeting with King Charles, Keir Starmer, and possibly anyone else who can get him near a camera. So stick around, because over the next few minutes I'm going to walk you through why Trump's staying at Windsor instead of Buckingham Palace. And spoiler alert, it's not because he's posh. The awkward photo ops that Starmer's praying won't happen, and the sort of trade deals you announce with a brass band and then quietly bury in the small print. Oh, and by the end I'll tell you the one thing about this visit that nobody's talking about, and it's probably the bit that matters most. So Trump lands in the UK and he's here for 3 days, and he's staying at Windsor Castle, not Buckingham Palace, because the palace is still under renovation until 2027 for plumbing, heating, fairly minor stuff, also known as things he should have got fixed years ago. So yesterday he met up with King Charles and Queen Camilla, along with Prince William and Princess Kate, the full royal works. He had a carriage procession and a fly past from the Red Arrows, because what says diplomacy more than roaring jets overhead? At lunchtime, he laid a wreath at Queen Elizabeth II's tomb, the obligatory moment of solemnity. And then in the evening, he had a banquet with speeches, formal wear, tiaras, medals, pearls, the works. Then today, Thursday, Trump's meeting up with Prime Minister Keir Starmer at Chequers, the Prime Minister's country house. They'll be having bilateral talks about trade, the Ukraine war, security, that sort of thing. And then they'll have a joint press conference. Now, this isn't just a pretty week away for Trump to practice posing with crowns and horses. There's real policy and some complications as well. First, there's a big tech prosperity deal on the table. The US companies are pledging billions of pounds into UK infrastructure, and Starmer wants commitments on lowering tariffs. Then there's foreign policy. The Ukraine war is on the agenda, obviously, and because you've got allies at war, you either do something about it, otherwise you just look like you're on holiday. And the UK is hoping Trump will stick to some of the previous promises made by the previous United States government. They'll also talk about Gaza and the Middle East, and tensions there are obviously still bubbling. But mainly, this visit is about optics. Starmer has had some rough weeks lately: resignations, falling approval ratings, internal criticism. Hosting this visit gives him two things: distraction and a chance at some look at us making deals moments. It's classic politics, really. When domestic problems loom, invite someone over with either a crown or a big jet. Of course, it wouldn't be Trump without the awkward bits, so lurking in the background is Peter Mandelson. Not literally, hopefully. Until last week, he was the UK's ambassador to the US, but he got sacked recently because of revelations about his past friendships with Jeffrey Epstein. And yes, that connection to Epstein is dragging Trump's name in the mud again, because there was this disputed birthday book with Trump's alleged signature. He denies it, but it's not good for public image, is it? Then there's the protests. Outside Windsor Castle, there is a huge anti-Trump presence. Images of Trump projected onto Windsor Castle together with Epstein. The royal optics are all good for Trump, though, if I'm honest, because Windsor Castle versus Buckingham Palace, well, Trump says Windsor Castle is the ultimate, and maybe that's because Buckingham Palace is having its plumbing fixed, or maybe it's just because Windsor Castle is easier to secure or block protesters from. Who knows? Mind you, in Windsor Castle, spare a thought for the head chef this week. You know, he had to do this banquet for 150 guests, including a man who once said he could make better deals than anyone in the world, and another who's the king of a nation. Both love big announcements, and somewhere in between you're worrying whether the beef will be the right shade of gold leaf. That has to be stressful, doesn't it? And those fly pasts, the red arrows turning somersaults in the sky, Trump watching and nodding, perhaps imagining that he's won another trophy or something and it's his sort of celebration display. Meanwhile, down on the ground, protesters are holding signs and people are wondering if their taxes just paid for that many jets just for a photo opportunity. Then you have Trump calling King Charles an elegant gentleman, a lifelong friend. And when you hear that, you think, well, which version of friend? The version that sends letters or watches golf tournaments? Or the version that just says, I follow your Instagram stories? And Starmer's predicament? Well, he's hosting. He's trying to look all statesman-like, but at the same time, he can't let people think he's giving away the crown jewels. So he has to pretend that lowering steel tariffs is a major win without letting anyone think, oh, so we just bend over when Trump wants us to. It's a classic balancing act, a bit like walking a tightrope over a moat full of crocodiles, that sort of thing. So what do I expect to come out of this visit? Well, 1, announcements of investment, big pledges, maybe some actual money comes through. 2, Keir Starmer will want the optics, a strong handshake with Trump, friendly interaction with the King, and the UK being open for business, proving that the special relationship is still alive. And that's always a big deal. He wants to boost his image at home, and he may succeed because many Brits love the royal displays. It appeals to something deep in our cultural DNA. Thirdly, conflict points, foreign policy, Ukraine, Gaza. Trump has his talk, UK has its positions. There'll be statements, possibly disagreements, but expect them to be carefully worded. No explosions, more like sort of polite fireworks. Next, the protests will matter. People are watching, and the media will show both sides, the ceremony and the dissent. The contrast is itself part of the story. Lastly, for Trump, this is another notch in his belt, isn't it? A second state visit, something no other US president has had in modern times, and that gives him bragging rights, new photo albums and new gold-framed newspaper quotes. And for the UK, well, it's a gamble. Do we get more than just the photos? So, in summary, Donald Trump in the UK equals pomp, plus deals, plus protests, plus awkwardness. That's the formula. You dress up Windsor Castle, you park the jets, you pour the wine, you pick the china, and you hope that underneath the decor, something good gets done. If I were King Charles, I'd be polishing my corgis this weekend, just in case. And if I was Starmer, I'd have a leaflet ready. Here's what we got. Yes, we wrestled tariffs. Yes, we held the line on Ukraine. No, we didn't sell our souls for a banquet. And if I was Trump, I'd be thinking, look at all them flags. Look at all the cameras. The people think I'm doing something really big here. And here's the part nobody's really talking about. The country, our country, my country, the UK, is footing the bill for Trump's fairy tale week, while government quietly trims budgets for schools, hospitals and everything else you actually use. So the real trade deal isn't about steel or AI, it's this. You get to watch a golden carriage parade, and in exchange, you lose another few nurses on the ward. Bargain, isn't it? What do you think will happen? Will Trump deliver? Will Starmer survive this week's optics? Will the protests steal the narrative? Leave your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, hit the like button and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, I'll catch you later, Grumps. Have a good day.